Picture an old motorboat gliding through the marsh on an eastern shore waterway of your choice in the dead of night. Men scuttling across the deck and whispering in hushed and nervous tones that would echo across the water. But what could they be nervous about? Their cargo.
Well, in the 1920s, there was a good bet that there was a vessel that was packed to the gills with hundreds of bottles of hooch. And after the 18th Amendment was passed, it was an all too common occurrence here on Delmarva. Transporting all that booze were the rum runners of the Chesapeake, and that's what author and amateur historian Andy Nunez is here to talk about. So welcome, Andy.
Hi, Andy.
Glad to be here again. Yeah.
So tell us, were there a lot of these?
There were a lot of these because Maryland never signed on to the Prohibition Act. They would not participate. Governor Ritchie at the time would not have anything to do with trying to bust up any illegal activities. And so it was up to the feds to do the policing, and well, they were kind of stretched because once they found out that there was booze and money to be made with booze, local folks were getting their stills put together and they were tuning up their motorboats. For example, my late publisher, Arlene Chase, her father, his name was Arlie. Arlie was a mechanic on boats, and he would tune up 3 specific boats for the rum runners who would go down the bay, meet the freighters off the 3-mile limit where they couldn't be hit by the revenuers. They would load up those speedboats, they would dash back around up the bay and deliver them to Baltimore faster than the Coast Guard could keep up with them. And it was because of Arlie Evans that kept the motors tuned up for that speed. But these 3 boats, the Bluebird, the Wawa, and the Whip or Will, were owned by a famous person.
Oh, yeah?
Joseph Kennedy.
Oh, really?
The father of President John F. Kennedy. He owned those boats. He made a lot of money off that booze. And they burned so much gas that Arlene's uncle owned a gas station on Taylor's Island. He sold more gasoline than any gas station on the Eastern Shore on an island with only 30 cars at the time.
So obviously the economy was boosted by all of this, but what about the actual alcohol trade itself? How lucrative was it?
It was very lucrative because, you know, it's like anything else. When you say it's illegal, people want it, you know. So when they said you can't have booze, people wanted booze. It just you just had to have it.
Right.
So what they would do is they would get all this stuff, rum from the Caribbean, Scotch from England, Scotland, and all this stuff, and from Canada, and they would freight it in these giant freighters that would lay off the 3-mile limit, and then all these boats would come in and supply the speakeasies and the bars all up and down the coast. Now, a couple of them are in Baltimore still in business. One of them at Fells Point's called the Horse You Rode In On. And that was next to a pharmacy because it was legal for pharmacies to sell alcohol for medicinal purposes. So if they needed some, they would just take a secret door into the back of the pharmacy, get some, and come back. And not only that, but Arlene's father and her uncle, they would take a truck across the ferry that went across the bay where the bridge is now, and they would load it up with booze that would be landing on one of these little inlets here on the coast, put baskets of sweet potatoes on top of it and sail it off for delivery. They did it 3 to 4 times in one weekend, and they kept telling the guys at the ferry, yeah, Lexington Market wouldn't take those sweet potatoes. We got to take them back. You know, so yeah, there was money to be made. Everybody made money. I mean, Al Capone made money off of it. You know, so yeah, there was a lot of money in it.
So Maryland, the authorities looked the other way. They just had to avoid the federal guys.
Exactly. So federal revenue agents would be snooping around. Maybe they'd get something. Maybe they wouldn't. They were more active, it seems like, in Virginia, where they busted up a few stills down there, and they gave some harsh sentences. One guy got 5 years in the pen as a repeat offender for having illegal alcohol down there.
Interesting.
So, but you know, their little Coast Guard fleet those old boats, you know, they're secondhand from the Navy after World War I. They couldn't keep up. Just couldn't keep up.
Interesting story from way back when. Andy Nunez, amateur historian and author, thank you for being here this afternoon.
My pleasure.